Dr. Kildare.
Did you say doctor?
Yes, she did. Back in 1961, when TV had two colours, black and white, and when aspirin was the drug of choice, pulses were sent racing as the dishy Dr. Kildare started to do the rounds.
Dr. Kildare was a kind of perfect 50s guy. He was sort of everything I wanted to be. He was serious, he was bright, he had a very important job, he did it very well.
What are your thoughts on this case, Dr. Kildare?
I discharge him. I think he's taking a vacation on his health insurance.
And occasionally fell in love with his prettier patients.
And the audience fell in love with Richard from the very first episode.
Kildare was immensely popular right away. It felt like I was instantly famous.
You look very pleased with yourself tonight.
I was getting, what, 12,000 fan letters a week.
At least more pleasing when I saw you last time.
And so I loved it.
But remember, despite the clinical performance, he's not a real doctor.
All during shooting Dr. Kildare, I would be approached in a joking way on the street or in restaurants or whatever. I said, oh, hey, doc, you know, I got a pain. And I'd say, well, I'll take an aspirin and go to bed.
But after 5 years, the joke began to wear thin, and Richard decided the time was right to move on.
I was dying to get out because I wanted to play all kinds of different things. I wanted to be in movies and plays and play classics and young men, old men, bad men, you know, everything.
So Richard checked himself out of the TV series. Swapping the operating theatre for musical theatre, he walked straight into a much-anticipated version of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
It was supposed to be the big hit of the decade, but the audience hated it. They would yell at us. They would walk out. I had a line, something like, I'll never sing again, or I can't sing, or something like that. And somebody said, you never could!
Ouch! Got anything for a bruised ego, Doc? One heckler wasn't going to beat Dr. Dick, though. So he went back to the screen and for the next 40 years starred in some movie and TV classics. Here in the UK, he swapped his gowns for a cassock in The Thornbirds.
Father Ralph de Bricassar was one of the most unfortunate people that God ever created, I think. He did have a genuine vocation in the church. He did love God. And he fell in love with Maggie with all his heart.
You can marry me. You love me?
But I love God more.
They really, really loved each other. They would have been a great, great couple.
And Richard's own love life was no stroll on the beach either, for he too was keeping a secret of his own.
I was living a double life. And in that sense, the masquerade was faintly similar.
For years, heartthrob Richard had been playing a role both on and off screen.
When I grew up in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, being gay was totally verboten. So you couldn't just come out and say, hey, everybody, I'm gay. You pretended you weren't.
And to save Richard the hassle of telling the world, the press decided to do it for him.
Oh, it was just terrifying to me. And I didn't work for about a year. My agent's phone just went dead.
Richard is now in a much happier place, both mentally and physically. The lucky chap is now rooted in Hawaii, where he lives with his partner of almost 30 years. And it was whilst living here that the burden of his public image was finally lifted.
I felt like an angel had touched my head and said, enough already. 68 years, enough.
So with an angel's help, Richard can live the life he wants. And 45 years after he first appeared on the screen, he now makes pictures of a different kind.
It's very different from showbiz because showbiz is a committee project. On the other hand, when you're painting a picture, it's just you and the canvas and the paints and the brushes. That's all there is. I do have some paintings on exhibit at a celebrity gallery in Lahaina and in Wailea, but they're mostly prints. Very excellent prints, but prints.
Would you look at that, a celebrity painter who can actually paint. Time will tell if his art will endure, but his film and TV career will always be remembered.
Mostly when fans come up to me now, they mention Shogun and the Thornbirds, but some still do talk about Dr. Kildare. So yes, it's been immensely, immensely good to me. I don't think my career would have taken off the way it has without it.
After the break, not only will we be touched by an angel,